Welcome back. We're still talking food security, best practices in agriculture. Mr. Olajolo, Mr. Madlan, when he mentioned the Bank of Industry and how there's a confusion of who do they answer to. Is it the Ministry of Finance? Bank of Agriculture. I beg your pardon. So who do they answer to? Do they answer to the Ministry of Agriculture or do they answer to the Ministry of Finance? That, in a way, it's also hindering the activities of the bank. He also talked about no support for the farmers. But there's a Ministry of Agriculture that has a Department of Extension. Is it that there's no staff there?
The Ministry of Agriculture, for instance, let me take it because the way these things are done is on the state level, at the state level. You have Ministry of Agriculture that has Department of Extension Services. And those extension services, they have extension officers in each of those local governments. Now, the question, for instance, the local government I am in Oyo, we have just 2 extension officers.
For an entire local government? For
an entire local government.
The figure that Mr. Madlan talked about, about the 280 farmers to 1 extension officer.
It's even more than that. It's going to be more than that from what I've told you. Now, if the guy starts from morning, or Monday morning till Friday, how many farms is he going to cover? So that's a problem. And more often than not, you don't get to see them. I went for a forum at IITA, and we got talking. And I said, look, there are some of us that went into farming, we thought we were going to get support from government in terms of extension service. We brought our own money, but what we just want you guys to do is to put us through, or not to do this thing. We need education, so to say. So I said that we never saw those extension officers. And they said, well, why do you want to see us? Government is not paying us. We are being home salaries. So they are demotivated. So it's a major issue too.
So the extension officers are demotivated?
Because they are not paid. So if the fact that they are not enough is one, then secondly, they are demotivated. So how do you want food to productivity to improve with the kind of situation I've just painted for you?
Okay. Mr. Madlan, if the government is not supporting you, how about the farmers themselves coming together to create for themselves? Because it looks like that's a system that works. If you provide your own light, your own water, your own road, you should also be able to...
Like everybody else.
Like everybody else. I mean, you should be able to form cooperatives and kind of like offer yourself extension services. Because some of you appear to be, well, how do you say that, more informed about the others on agricultural best practices. How will this work? I mean, thinking about doing it yourself.
You just forgot something. I mean, providing ourselves our own security. Because in my farm now, all the profit I make from the farm goes into the security. I have to pay for security in the farm. If not, it becomes very difficult for me, myself, to go to the farm. So you provide your water, you provide your road, you provide your light, and then you expect to listen to the program when somebody says we're diversifying the economy. How do you diversify the economy? You think local, you think global, and you act local. Then that doesn't put you in the frame. I will tell you this. It's a tough situation in the agri sector. But unfortunately, that is the biggest employer of labor. 68% of Nigerian populations do nothing than agriculture. But I tell you, 49% of these people today are not interested in going back to the farm. You can be in the farm and they will pick you up, and then they will use your telephone to call your relative to bring in money to come and secure you out. The last time I was here, I said it's a known fact that AK-47 is at the cost of 74,000 naira, not too far from a place where we are here, somewhere in Sarikin Power. So now, if the responsibility of government is the protection of life and property, then the most endangered person today is the farmer. I don't want us to say there is clashes between farmers and the Fulanis. Clashes is that we are aware that we have problem, then I will meet at a neutral ground and will clash. No, it's an attack. As I speak with you today, the price of food is up. And then Nigeria is among the 44 countries in the world that will be affected by food insecurity this year. The man who has planned to fail, and who has failed to plan, has planned to fail. And there is nothing anyone to do about it here. Benue State will have no seedlings to go back to farming this year that we are coming in here. The man in Kaduna, we have a number of people who are closing up their farms, who are not interested in going to farm because of insecurity. Now, between Abuja and Kaduna, you have more than 383 farming families. I don't think you have up to 55 farming families that are still doing what they love to do. What are we saying about is that there are no longer confident among those agric entrepreneurs, those farmers who are there. The Buruku is no go area. 187 silos across these countries, 96% of it is empty. There is not a single grain in it here. So if there is a crisis today, if we have flood, if we had fire incidences, let's assume we even go into war. We don't have anything to secure us. I shouldn't be saying this in a public television, but one will have to say it because if we, I mean, they said if you talk, you die. If you don't talk, you also die. So we need to talk. So this is the crisis here. I am pain. My heart bleeds that the job I love to do, the profession I've chosen to do, to do what I love to do, that I'm not being encouraged at all. Yet we hear all sorts. Why do we have crisis today? Between the 31st of December and 2nd of January, we lost 175 people in Nigeria. Are we at war? We have more refugees in Nigeria than the entire whole of South Sudan have got refugees here. People in their own country living in IDP camp, and then we have an institution that should look after us here. One will ask yourself, if you are going to the farm, you need to be calling. You don't get to let people know when you are coming and when you are leaving. That is not life. Productivity has dropped here. So you look at this whole thing. We need to let people know that the situation we have on ground is, and we are in the election year. Now the election is exclusive, but the city leadership is inclusive, and that's what I think. Our leaders are thinking about next election, not the next generation, and this is where we have the total mismatch. We're in crisis. There is a problem with us as I speak with you today. The growing population is not in tandem with our food production. Our favorite foods are not what we can import. I don't know where Nigerians is going to import the 33 million metric tons of yam that we need. I don't know where we are going to bring in begiri. I don't know where we are going to bring in our tatashi. I don't know who is going to bring in their onions to us. We have these things we grow the best in the world, but who are growing them? They are no longer there because of insecurity. For the past nine and a half years, 43% of the beans we eat comes from Niger, Burkina Faso, Bobo de Lasso, and gas. These are our neighbors. We are the biggest consumer of livestock in the entire whole of West Africa, with the biggest consuming point, which is Lagos. 211 trucks of cows every single week. There's nowhere. And don't forget that once you finish a full cow, you've displaced 54 children from school sandal. We have the best. We have the best leather. Why? Because the only good thing about Nigerian cows is that it moves from Sokoto to Mahia. All his life it treks, but milk quality is zero, beef zero, and all that. Yet you have a livestock unit department. You have the Federal Ministry of Environment has not been brought to this equation. They are supposed to have brought to the notice of the world that our grazing. I mean, we have water shortages. 386 water tributaries at this grazing reserve have been shrinked strictly to 96 in unit. So where are we? There's nothing going on.
But Mr. Madlion, so the consensus from both of you this morning is that yes, food security